You might not believe this, but at 85 years old, I can still walk miles without a cane, carry my own groceries, and wake up every morning without a single ache or cough. My name is Robert Hayes, and I live in Portland, Oregon. When people see me walking around the park at sunrise, they often ask, "What's your secret? How are you still this strong?" Well, today I'm going to tell you everything. These are not magic tricks or expensive treatments. These are the 7 habits I've practiced every single day for decades, habits that have kept me healthy, sharp, and grateful to still be here. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, "Oh, just another health talk," let me warn you, some of the things I do might sound like weird things. But weird doesn't mean wrong. Sometimes, the strangest routines are the ones that truly work. You might be surprised how simple changes, like what I eat, how I move, and even how I think, can transform your life. This is not about being young again, it's about staying alive, alert, and peaceful in the years that matter most. Let me tell you a story. 10 years ago, when I turned 75, my doctor told me I was lucky, no diabetes, no high blood pressure, and no dementia signs. He said, "Robert, keep doing whatever you're doing, because most men your age can barely walk without pain." That hit me. I realized that the small habits I'd been doing weren't just keeping me healthy, they were protecting my future. You see, this is what aging gracefully really looks like, not denying old age, but embracing it with wisdom and daily discipline. According to the Harvard Study of Adult Development, one of the longest studies on aging, people who maintain consistent routines, physical, social, and mental, tend to live longer and report higher happiness. That means health isn't about luck, it's about what we do every day. It's about how we choose to treat our bodies and minds, from the moment we wake up until we go to sleep. And if you're wondering whether you can do the same at your age, I say, try this. Even if you're 60, 70, or 80, it's never too late to start. As we go through each of these habits, ask yourself, can I do this today? Because that's where change begins. This is when the story of your health turns around, not with medicine, not with fear, but with awareness and action. So grab your tea, sit comfortably, and let's begin this journey together. You're about to discover how an old man like me has stayed strong, independent, and happy well into his 80s. And who knows, by the end of this video, you might just find yourself inspired to live differently too. Habit number 1, morning movement, the power of walking before breakfast. Every morning, before the sun even rises, I tie my old sneakers, step outside, and start walking. No phone, no music, no distractions, just me, the crisp morning air, and the sound of my heartbeat. People think I'm crazy for doing this at 5:30 a.m., especially at my age, but this is the moment when I feel most alive. This is when I reconnect with my body, my breath, and the world around me. Walking before breakfast might seem like one of those weird things you hear on the internet, but for me, it's been a life-changing ritual. I started this habit more than 40 years ago, after losing my best friend, Tom Jenkins from San Diego, to a heart attack at 52. Tom was a good man, but he never exercised. He'd always say, "I'll start tomorrow." Well, tomorrow never came. After his funeral, I promised myself I wouldn't take another day of movement for granted. That's when I decided to walk every single morning, rain or shine, tired or not. Over time, I noticed something amazing. My mind became calmer, my legs stronger, and my appetite more balanced. Now, science backs this up. According to a 2022 report by the Mayo Clinic, consistent low-impact exercise, such as brisk walking, helps reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, strengthens bones, and can even delay the effects of cognitive decline that often dementia leads to. For older adults, especially those over 70, this kind of movement is not optional, it's essential. Studies also show that morning exercise improves blood sugar control throughout the day, boosts mood by increasing serotonin, and helps regulate sleep at night. Every time I walk, I treat it as a form of gratitude. I whisper to myself, I still can. Because someday, maybe I won't. I don't walk to compete, I walk to remember that life still flows through me. And if you're watching this thinking, but I can't walk far, then try this, start with 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes of gentle movement after you wake up. You don't need fancy shoes or a treadmill. All you need is the will to start. And here's something you'll notice, the more you move before breakfast, the better your body digests food later. When I eat top whole grain toast and eggs after my walk, I can literally feel my body saying, "Thank you." It's like my system is awake and ready to absorb the nutrients. That's why I never skip my morning walk. It's the best medicine I've ever found. So if you ever wonder how an 85-year-old man like me can still walk strong and rarely get sick, well, this is the first secret. Movement before breakfast. It's simple, but it's powerful. Because the truth is, health doesn't come from what we do occasionally, it comes from what we do every single day. Habit number 2, mindful eating, the simple way I nourish my body. After my morning walk, I head back home and prepare a simple breakfast, nothing fancy, just real food that makes me feel alive. Most days, I eat top oatmeal with fresh berries, a boiled egg, and a cup of green tea. No sugar, no heavy meat, and definitely no processed junk. Some people laugh and say, "Robert, you eat like a bird." But I always smile and tell them, maybe that's why I still fly. This is one of those weird things that has kept me young, eating slowly, with intention, and stopping when I feel just right, not stuffed. When I was younger, I used to eat like most Americans, fast food, soda, big dinners, late snacks. But in my 50s, after a routine checkup showed high cholesterol, my doctor warned me, "Robert, if you don't change how you eat, you might not make it to 70. That shook me. So, I started studying nutrition and discovered what researchers now call mindful eating. It's not about counting calories or cutting carbs, it's about paying attention to your hunger, your food, and your feelings while eating. According to a Harvard Health study, people who practice mindful eating are less likely to overeat, have better digestion, and experience lower stress levels. Scientists say that when you eat slowly and chew properly, your brain gets enough time to signal fullness, which helps maintain a healthy weight and prevent chronic diseases. More importantly, mindful eating supports brain health. Studies suggest that poor diet and rushed eating habits can accelerate the decline that often dementia leads to in later years. For me, eating mindfully also became a spiritual habit. I take a deep breath before my meal and silently give thanks. Every bite feels like an act of appreciation, not for the food itself, but for the life that allows me to eat it. It may sound small, but this moment of gratitude changes everything. Food becomes medicine, not entertainment. Now, if you're still watching until this point, let's test something. Are you really paying attention? If you are, type number 2 in the comments right now to let me know you're still here and learning. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Golden Age Wisdom, because we're just getting started, and the next habits might surprise you. Remember, this is not a diet plan, it's a lifestyle of awareness. When you know what and why you eat, your body rewards you with energy, clarity, and strength. So, try this tomorrow. Sit down, take a slow breath, look at your plate, and really taste your food. It's simple, but it could change your life. Because this is how true nourishment begins, not in the kitchen, but in the mind. Habit number 3, rest and rhythm, sleeping like a child at 85. If there's one thing I've learned after living 8.5 decades, it's that sleep is sacred. Most people underestimate it. They think rest is what you do when there's time left. But the truth is, good sleep is what gives you time. I always tell people, don't chase sleep, create it. My routine is simple but powerful. I go to bed at 9:30 p.m. and wake up at 5 a.m., no excuses. This rhythm has kept my mind sharp, my mood stable, and my body balanced. I don't need pills or fancy gadgets, I just respect my body's natural rhythm. Back in my 60s, I struggled with insomnia for years. I'd toss and turn, my thoughts racing about work, bills, and family. Then one night, I realized something profound. I wasn't giving my mind permission to rest. So I began doing small rituals before bed, turning off the TV, dimming the lights, and breathing deeply for a few minutes. Over time, these little habits became my nightly ceremony. Now, when my head hits the pillow, it's as if my body knows, this is when peace begins. Asterisk. Doctors at the National Institute on Aging say adults over 65 should aim for 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. It's not just about feeling rested, it's about survival. Studies have shown that lack of sleep increases the risk of heart disease, depression, and even cognitive decline, yes, the same kind that dementia leads to. When we don't sleep enough, the brain can't clear out toxins that build up during the day. Imagine your mind like a street that needs cleaning every night. If you skip the cleanup, eventually, things pile up. A friend of mine, Linda Moore from Tampa, Florida, once told me she hadn't slept well in years. She'd take sleeping pills just to get 3 or 4 hours. I suggested something simple: go outside during the day, get sunlight, and avoid screens an hour before bed. 2 weeks later, she called and said, "Robert, I slept like a child last night." Sometimes, it's not about medicine, it's about balance. When you honor your body's clock, you age slower. Your heart beats steadier, your digestion improves, and your mind becomes calmer. So if you're someone who stays up late scrolling on your phone, try this tonight: turn it off, light a candle, and just breathe. It may feel strange at first, one of those weird things you'd never think works, but it does. Because in the stillness of night, healing begins. And remember, I'm not special. I just learned to listen to my body. Every night, I tell myself, rest is not a waste of time, it's a gift. And at 85, I can tell you, that gift is the reason I wake up every morning full of life. Habit number 4, daily connections. Talking keeps the heart alive. If walking keeps my body moving and sleeping restores my mind, then conversations, real, human conversations, are what keep my heart alive. Every single day, I make it a point to talk to someone. It doesn't have to be long or deep, sometimes just a 5-minute chat with my neighbor, or a short phone call with my daughter in Chicago. But those small connections mean everything. You see, loneliness is the silent killer of old age. You can eat well, sleep well, and exercise daily, but if you go days without talking to another soul, your heart starts to forget why it beats. I learned this the hard way after my wife, Margaret, passed away 12 years ago. The house in Portland suddenly felt too quiet. The nights were the worst, I'd hear the echo of my own breathing. That's when I realized that grief and silence are close friends. So I began making an effort to reach out, to old friends, church members, even the cashier at the grocery store. At first, it felt awkward. But slowly, those moments of conversation became my medicine. Each smile, each story, was a reminder that I still belong here. Science now confirms what my heart already knew. A 2023 study from Johns Hopkins University found that seniors with regular social contact have a 30% lower risk of early mortality and significantly reduced rates of depression and dementia. Another report from the American Psychological Association stated that social interaction stimulates areas of the brain associated with memory and emotional regulation. In other words, talking isn't just good for your soul, it's an exercise to keep your brain young. One of my closest friends, Jim Walker from Austin, Texas, is 88 and still volunteers at a community garden. He says, "Robert, I don't grow plants for food, I grow them for people." Every time I see him talking with the younger volunteers, laughing under the sun, I realize, that's the secret. You don't need hundreds of friends, you just need a few good conversations that remind you you're alive. So, if you've made it this far into the video, I want to know you're still with me. Type number 4 in the comments if you're listening right now. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Golden Age Wisdom, because we're halfway through the 7 habits, and the next ones might just change how you see aging forever. If you ever feel lonely, remember this: connection doesn't start with someone else, it starts with you. Try this tomorrow, call one old friend. Ask how they're doing. Tell them you're thinking about them. Sometimes, that small act of care is all it takes to bring warmth back into both your hearts. Because in the end, this is what keeps us human, not the years we've lived, but the moments we've shared. Habit number 5, keep learning. The brain stays young when curiosity stays alive. One of the most dangerous myths about aging is the belief that learning stops when school ends. I couldn't disagree more. At 85, I still learn something new every day, not because I have to, but because curiosity keeps me alive. I always say, when your mind stops growing, your spirit starts shrinking. That's why every morning after breakfast, I spend at least 30 minutes reading books, articles, sometimes even scientific journals about health and the brain. My current favorite? A book about memory and how dementia leads to disconnection between brain cells. Understanding it makes me feel like I'm fighting back, one page at a time. It wasn't always like this. When I retired at 65, I thought I'd spend my days watching TV and tending my garden. But after 6 months, I noticed something strange: my thoughts were slower, my memory weaker. That scared me. So, I decided to try this experiment: learn one new thing every week. I took online classes, watched documentaries, even joined a local history club. And within months, I felt sharper and more engaged than I had in years. My neighbors joked, "Robert, you study more now than you did in college." Maybe they were right, but it worked. Science supports this too. A study from Stanford University found that older adults who regularly engage in new learning activities show higher levels of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections. That means even at 80 or 90, your brain can still grow, adapt, and strengthen. In fact, researchers discovered that people who learn a new language or musical instrument later in life have a lower risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. It's living proof that the mind, just like the body, thrives on challenge and curiosity. Let me tell you about Mary Collins from Denver, Colorado. She's 82 and recently started learning Spanish because her granddaughter married a man from Mexico. At first, she laughed and said, "This old tongue can't roll its R's." But after a few months of practice, she proudly greeted me with, "Buenos dias, Senor Hayes." Her eyes sparkled with joy. That's when I realized, learning isn't just about memory, it's about meaning. If you're listening right now, let's do a quick check. Are you still here, still learning with me? Type number 6 in the comments so I know you're part of this journey. And if you haven't yet, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Golden Age Wisdom, because what's coming next might inspire you even more. So, don't be afraid to challenge your brain. Pick up a book, learn a skill, ask questions, explore new topics. These are not just hobbies, they're lifelines. Remember, this is how we stay young, by never letting curiosity grow old. Habit number 6, gratitude and prayer, the secret medicine for the soul. People often ask me, "Robert, how do you stay so calm, even when things go wrong?" I smile and tell them my real secret, gratitude and prayer. Every morning and night, I take a few quiet moments to thank God for one more day. I don't ask for much, not wealth, not youth, just the strength to be thankful. Because this is what keeps my heart steady, even when life gets heavy. Gratitude, to me, is like oxygen for the soul. Without it, we suffocate in worry and regret. When I lost my wife, Margaret, I thought my world had ended. I would sit alone on the porch, staring at the empty chair beside me. One night, instead of asking, "Why me?" I whispered, "Thank you for the years we had." And something shifted. That small act of gratitude didn't erase my pain, but it gave it purpose. Since then, I've started and ended every day with a prayer, not just for myself, but for others too. I pray for my neighbors, for my children, for anyone who might be suffering in silence. It reminds me that I'm still connected to the world. There's actually science behind this feeling. According to a 2021 study from the University of California, Berkeley, people who practice daily gratitude experience 23% lower levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, and show improved heart health and emotional stability. Researchers also found that prayer or meditation strengthens neural pathways linked to empathy and emotional regulation. In simpler terms, being thankful doesn't just feel good, it rewires your brain for peace. Let me share a story. My friend Eleanor Brooks from Nashville, Tennessee, is 90 and has arthritis so bad that her hands can barely hold a pen. Yet, every morning, she writes 3 things she's grateful for in her notebook. When I asked her why, she said, "Because gratitude makes pain feel smaller." That sentence stayed with me. Maybe that's why, no matter how old I get, I start each day with the same words, "Thank you, Lord, for another sunrise." Now, if you're still watching, I want to know, are you the kind of person who looks for blessings, even in hard times? If you're still with me at this point, type number 6 in the comments right now. Let's see how many grateful hearts we have here. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Golden Age Wisdom, because what comes next might open your eyes in ways you never expected. You see, gratitude isn't about ignoring pain, it's about balancing it with perspective. Try this tonight, before you sleep, name 3 things you're thankful for. It might feel strange at first, maybe even one of those weird things, but keep at it. You'll be amazed at how your world begins to soften, and how peace quietly walks back into your heart. Habit number 7, helping others, the joy that keeps me young. If there's one thing that truly keeps me feeling young at heart, it's helping others. At 85, I may not be as fast or as strong as I once was, but every time I extend a hand, offer a smile, or share a word of encouragement, I feel a spark of energy that no medicine can provide. Helping others, whether it's a neighbor who needs groceries, a friend who just lost their spouse, or even a child who needs guidance, reminds me that my life still has purpose. And purpose, I've learned, is the fuel that keeps the spirit alive, even when the body begins to slow down. There's a saying that has stayed with me for many years: when you give, you don't lose, you grow. The older I get, the more I realize how true that is. Science even backs it up. Research from Harvard and the National Institute on Aging shows that seniors who volunteer or help others regularly experience lower rates of depression, better physical health, and even longer lifespans. Acts of kindness stimulate the release of oxytocin, the so-called love hormone, which reduces stress, improves heart health, and strengthens the immune system. In other words, being kind doesn't just help others live better, it helps you live longer. For me, helping others doesn't always mean doing big things. Sometimes it's as simple as listening. I make it a point to call someone every day, a family member, a friend, or even someone I haven't spoken to in years. A few minutes of real, honest conversation can change someone's day. And often, it changes mine too. Loneliness is one of the biggest enemies of aging, but when you connect through kindness, you defeat it completely. I also find joy in sharing what I've learned. Every Saturday morning, I host a small tea talk with a few younger neighbors who like to hear stories about how things used to be: no smartphones, no instant meals, just people who had time for each other. I tell them about the lessons life has taught me: patience, forgiveness, and the beauty of slowing down. In return, they teach me about the modern world, and we both walk away feeling richer. Those moments, as simple as they seem, make my heart feel 20 years younger. There's something deeply spiritual about helping others, too. I believe that kindness connects us to something greater than ourselves, to the divine rhythm of life that rewards compassion with peace. When I pray each night, I don't ask for strength or health anymore. I simply say, "Thank you for letting me be useful today." That prayer, small as it may be, fills me with a happiness that no pill or doctor's advice could ever replace. At 85, I've realized that youth isn't about how many years you've lived, it's about how much love you give. Helping others is my way of staying young, of keeping my heart open and my mind alive. When you stop thinking about yourself and start thinking about how you can bring light to others, you find that life itself becomes lighter. And that, I believe, is the truest secret to longevity, not just a long life, but a meaningful one. Because in the end, it's not the wrinkles on your face that define your age. It's the warmth in your heart, and that, my friend, only grows stronger the more you give. Closing, the real secret to living well at 85. So, there you have it, the 7 habits that have carried me through 85 beautiful years. No secret potions, no fancy diets, no miracle pills. Just simple, consistent choices made every single day, moving before breakfast, eating mindfully, resting deeply, staying connected, learning constantly, praying with gratitude, and helping others with a joyful heart. These aren't just routines, they're reminders that life, no matter how long it lasts, is meant to be lived with purpose and love. When I look back at my life, I don't see a smooth road. I see bumps, storms, and detours, but also the strength I gained from walking through them. The truth is, you don't reach 85 without facing pain or loss. I've said goodbye to friends, I've buried loved ones, I've felt the weight of loneliness. But these habits gave me something that pain could never take away: peace. A calm sense that every day, no matter how ordinary, is still a gift. If you're watching this and wondering whether it's too late to start, let me tell you, it's never too late. Whether you're 50, 60, or 80, your body and mind are still listening to what you do every day. Walk a little in the morning. Eat with attention. Rest when you need to. Call someone you love. Read something new. Say a prayer of thanks. Do one kind thing. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be yours. Modern medicine often focuses on adding years to your life, but these habits add life to your years. They keep your mind sharp, your body moving, and your spirit glowing. When you build your days around gratitude, curiosity, and compassion, even old age becomes something beautiful, a stage of wisdom, peace, and quiet strength. If this video inspired you, or reminded you of something you want to start doing today, please give it a thumbs up. It helps this message reach more people who might need a little encouragement to take better care of themselves. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to this channel, because every week, I share stories, tips, and reflections about how to age with grace, stay healthy, and live meaningfully, no matter what your age is. And one more thing before you go, if there's someone in your life who could use a reminder that growing old is not the end, but a new beginning, share this video with them. You never know whose spirit you might lift just by sending a little light their way. I'm 85 years old, still walking, still laughing, still learning, and I hope that wherever you are in life, you'll keep walking your path with the same hope. Because aging isn't about losing time, it's about gaining wisdom, gratitude, and the courage to keep living fully, one day at a time. So take a deep breath, smile, and remember, it's a blessing just to be alive today.